Everybody, my name is Laurel Hicks. I'm here to offer you a mindful movement practice and just a little tiny bit about me. I'm part of the 0 to 3 Mindfulness Advisory Board, and I'm a researcher at the University of Colorado Boulder in the Renee Cran Wellness Center. I really focus on integrating things like mindfulness and compassion-based practices to help support families in pregnancy, postpartum, and early childhood. So I'm here to offer this to all of you today. And one thing that I have set up here, I have like a little cushion and my yoga mat. If you have a yoga mat, you can put it down on the ground. If you have a cushion or a pillow to sit on, sometimes people find that to be comfortable. You can also just do this on the carpet or anything like that. Um, so you can go ahead and get your items and get yourself set. And I'm going to go back to the mat and we'll get started. Um, oh, one other thing is that, it's okay if kids come into the room, dogs come into the room, all of that kind of stuff while you're practicing at home. Sometimes it's nice to sort of create a little bit of a space if you have one for yourself, but know that everything that I offer is just simply an invitation to try. There's no need to have any of it be a specific way at all. So if I am offering something that maybe doesn't feel very good on your body, or just, yeah, doesn't feel quite right, you have total license to stop doing it, to change it, to modify it, all of that good stuff. So I hope that you'll feel comfortable, especially since you're in your own home for many of you, to be able to, yeah, make yourself feel as comfortable and as safe and at ease as possible. So now I'll go back to my mat. Okay, so we're just going to start here, sitting up nice and tall. And if you can't sit cross-legged, that's fine. You could stretch your legs out. Allow the eyes to soften or close. And if your eyes, if they just sort of soften, you can gaze towards the ground, just so that there's not a ton of distraction around you. And here I invite you to simply notice your breathing, just whatever kind of breath you bring into this moment. So you might notice the breath, maybe it's all up in the area of your chest, or perhaps it's in the belly, or maybe it's hard to notice the breathing at all. If you find it difficult to notice your breath, I encourage you to just place a hand maybe over your chest or a hand over your belly, just to feel the movement. Now begin to deepen your breath. So deepening your breath, filling up the lungs completely. You're going to breathe in and feel the lower belly fill, the middle belly all the way up to the chest, and then exhaling, emptying from the chest to the middle, down to the bottom. So allowing this breath to really expand in a purposeful way. You may notice the sides of the ribs kind of expanding, even the back of the body expanding with each and every breath. Releasing your hands alongside the body, just stretch the fingertips out to the side. Inhale, sweep the arms right up to the sky, feeling your arms move through space. Gaze up to the fingers. And exhale, release the arms all the way down. And so again, the eyes can be open or closed, whatever feels most nourishing and supportive to you. And so we're breathing here together with the arms moving up and down. You might feel a bit of a stretch in certain parts of the body. You might feel kind of the blood coming down, the blood flow moving downward towards the ground as your arms are lifted, creating a bit of a tingliness in the hands. Next time your arms reach up to the sky, clasp your fingers together and just spin the palms up. So feel the hands reach up, way up high, and then allow the shoulders to draw down. Just noticing the different sensation when that happens, gazing up towards the hand. Breathe in. And exhale, tuck the chin in, place the hands behind your head, and then just allow for a little tiny bit of a stretch in the back of the neck. And it doesn't have to be a lot, it's just a little bit of movement. And now together we're going to move again with the breath. So lift the head up towards the sky, feel the elbows drop back. Exhale, roll the spine, allow the head to hang, maybe the elbows drop towards the ground. And inhale, heart lifts, arms move back. Exhale, roll the spine. And again, inhale, the back arches a bit, and then exhale, the spine curves. Continuing here for a couple more breaths just on your own. And the invitation is always to just kind of notice what kind of body sensations arise. There might be more tightness on one side of the body than the other. You may even be a little surprised where that tightness shows up. Come back now to a neutral spine, and we're just going to dip one elbow down towards the ground, the other elbow up, feeling a bit of length through the side body. And come back up and over to the other side. Back up to center now. Release the hands, clasp them behind the back. Lift up through the chest and reach the arms away from the body. So feeling this openness. I don't know about you guys, but I'm spending so much time sitting in front of my desk that having this opposite motion can feel really welcome. And then release the hands down, maybe kind of shaking that out a little bit. So we're going to move now on to hands and knees. If your knees are a little bit sensitive, you can place blankets beneath them. And once you're on hands and knees, and this is, safe for everybody to do. If your wrists are a little bit sore, you can always make fists with your hands and hold your hands like this. But once you're on hands and knees, we're just going to begin to move the spine just as we were when we were seated. So moving into what we call cat and cow. So drawing the belly button up as you exhale, gaze to the navel. And then inhale, let the belly drop slightly, allow the chest to lift. Exhale, roll the spine, gaze to the navel. And then the opposite, belly dip. So if for some reason you're pregnant, I'm sure there's a handful of people at the conference that are pregnant, there always is. You don't really want to dip the belly too deep. You don't want to overstretch the abdomen. So think here instead of opening up through the chest and feeling the chest really initiate the movement rather than the belly. And come back now to neutral. You're going to move the hands over to the left side and just take the right foot, step it up to the front of the mat. You're going to come into a nice deep lunge. So hands are at the inside of the front foot. Now, if it's hard for your hands to get there, again, fists, or you can even rest them on something that's a little bit higher, like a block if you have one. Take a moment here, inhale, lengthen through the spine, just feeling that openness or not openness through the right hip. And then slowly here, rock yourself all the way back, beginning to straighten the front and walk the hands back. So Your leg may not straighten all the way. It depends on your own body, and that's fine. Right? And then walking the hands forward, lunge into the front knee. So just moving again in this rocking motion. It can be, such a challenge to do some of this mindful movement because judgment often arises, right? Or comparison, where it's this idea of like, I need to be able to do what she's doing, or I need to be able to straighten my leg all the way, or do this in a certain way. And really, the judgment is normal to arise, but here I'd like to encourage you to just notice how this feels in your own body. In your body, what is the feeling that's present? And how can you move in a way that's nourishing to you? And every person is beautifully unique in that. And coming back, lunging into the front knee. You're going to step that foot back next to the other, coming onto hands and knees again. Just spread the knees out wide, sink the hips back. We're going to lower into what's called a child's pose. So here you can rest the head down on your hands maybe, or on a pillow or a block if you have it. If you need a little more space for the belly area, you might want the knees to be spread a little bit more widely. And slowly here, come back up onto hands and knees. Walk the hands over to the right side. You might even just feel how your hands are rooted into the mat, and step the left foot forward. So coming into that nice deep lunge again on the left side, just take a moment here to, again, just simply notice, like, where do you feel some length in the body? You feel your muscles like engaging, feeling strong. And then slowly moving through that rocking motion forward and back. Connecting your breath with movement. And again, just moving however your body is calling to be moved. And I really believe that our bodies have a lot of wisdom. Like, we know often what our body needs. I know for me, sometimes I'm like, I know if it's like, I need more water, I need more vegetables, I need more sleep. Especially when people are pregnant, the body has an even louder voice, right? If you think about the people who we all work with. And so trusting in that wisdom of that voice. Lunging deeply once again. We're going to step back onto hands and knees and then just take a little rest back in child's. So here in child's pose. Another option for that, if child's pose isn't comfortable, is to simply kneel or sit and cross the legs. So breathing deeply through the back of the body. And coming up once again onto hands and knees. Now we're going to spin around on the surface that you're at, coming onto like face sort of, so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. And extend the right leg open to the side. So the right leg is nice and long, the toes point towards the long edge, and then place the left hand down on the ground. Reach the right arm up to the sky and over your head. So feel this nice long stretch here, and we're going to do some big circles with that arm. So here, moving the arm, feeling the back foot rooting down, that length through the side of the body. All of this movement allows fluid to move through the body a little bit more freely. Help with circulation. And it also can help, especially when we move with that deep, even breath, that yogic breath, it can help to calm the nervous system. And so lowering that back to the center, you can just take a moment and notice how that feels on one side of your body compared to the other. We're going to move to the other side now. So extend the leg open to the side. Feel the foot press down. Toes point out to the side. And then the right hand is right underneath the shoulder. Extend the left arm up to the sky, lift it high, breathe in. And then reach that arm over your head, fingertips towards the back of your mat. So feeling this nice long movement here, and then slowly we're going to move the arm around. So again, nice big motion. If that's available to your own body, it may not be. And one more. Coming back to center and sitting or kneeling, whatever feels okay for you. We're going to come around to sit on the mat. And if you're a person that has a lot of low back pain or hip pain, I really do recommend finding like a small pillow. This one that I have behind here could also work, and sit on that just so that it allows your hips to rise a little bit more. And it creates a little bit more space in the body. So here, stretch the legs out wide, pull the toes up towards you, arms alongside the body. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, lower the hands down. And then reach just the right arm up to the sky. You're going to walk the left hand open, and again, a nice little side bend. You're going to circle that around to the center, and then walk the hands over to the other side, reaching the left arm up and over. So it's kind of like we're going in a nice big circle. Again, as deep as it feels like supportive for you. And you might even notice your breath kind of connecting with the movement. Coming back up to neutral, let's move in the other direction. So walking the right hand over to the side, the left arm reaches across the body, and then coming back to center, walking the hands over to the left side, and arm up and over. We'll do one more round. And come back to center. Bring the legs together in front of you, and then soles of the feet come together. So again, this is a good one to sit up on the little pillow for. Feet come together and knees move apart. This is like a butterfly. Allow the spine to lengthen. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, fold forward. As you fold here, I invite you to move the body just until you start to feel a bit of an opening or a bit of a lengthening in the body. So for me, I feel it in my inner thighs, a bit in my outer legs, but you might feel it in a different way. And so once you start to feel that sensation, just sort of pause, settle in. Notice if there's parts of your body that are holding a lot of tension. Often it's in the back and the neck, the jaw and the eyes. And then slowly come back up. Extend the legs open ahead of you. Just pausing and kind of notice the sensation that's present in the legs now. So I'm going to give a couple of options for this next position. If you're comfortable lying on your back, you can lie on your back. If lying on your back doesn't feel good, maybe you're pregnant and you don't like to lie on your back, you can lay on your side. Or you can also stay seated, right? So if you decide to lie on your back, actually for this one, I'll just be lying on the back or sitting up. Those will be the two options. So if you decide to lie on your back, what I invite you to do is to place the feet on the floor and then just cross one ankle over the opposite knee. And then you're going to squeeze the knee in, hold on behind the leg. So we can do this also, like I said, seated. And so if you choose to do this seated, especially if you have something behind you, you can just lean back and do this. Or you could even do it in a chair. If you have a ongoing yoga practice and you know how to do pigeon, you might want to do a forward folding pigeon. If there isn't a wall behind you, then I say just sit up on a chair, on a couch, and do the same movement. And so for me, the right foot is over the left knee. Noticing any kind of sensation in the right leg and hip. The feeling of your breath. And then if there are areas that you're feeling some tightness in, if you want to, you can invite them just to soften a little bit. And it may happen, it might not. So maybe there's a softening in the jaw, in the shoulders, even in the belly. Imagining that as you breathe, you send the breath directly to the area that you're feeling the sensation. So for me, it's in my right hip. So sending the air right to like that visual kind of feeling of sending the breath right to your right hip and then out from it. And then gently release that leg. If you're lying on your back, you can just stretch the leg out. You can stretch both legs out. Give a nice big stretch and movement. And then moving to the other side. So now the left ankle crosses over the right knee. This side might be more tight or less. The left foot is flexed just a little bit, especially if you have some knee discomfort, that can sometimes help. And you can always make this less intense by walking the right foot away from your body a little bit, or more intense by moving it in. And so as you hold this, I invite you to not only just notice the sensation that arises, but also what happens in the mind. Noticing if the thoughts wander off. They're going to eventually. They probably have a bunch already. And then just gently gathering your thoughts, bringing them back here into this moment. The sensation in the body, maybe the sound of your breathing, the sound of my voice. And just a couple more breaths here. And slowly release that side. Just kind of stretching the legs out. You can pat the thighs if you're sitting up or shake the legs out. One last movement, and then we're going to come into a final resting position. And so you can do this laying on the back. We're just going to do a bit of a spinal twist. So you can lie on the back or you can sit up, whatever's more comfortable. If you are pregnant, you might want to sit up. There might be a little more space that way. So if you choose to sit up, you can bring the left hand onto the right knee and the right hand behind you. Think of twisting through the upper back and neck. If you're lying down, just draw the knees in towards your chest and then allow the knees to fall over to one side. Arms move out to a bit of a T, gazing to the opposite side. And taking a really deep breath, exhale it all out. And move the knees back to center and over to the other side, or if you're seated, you can just kind of switch sides, twisting in the opposite direction. And then coming back to neutral, find your way into a final resting position. So traditionally, this is done laying on the back. I know for a lot of people, the back is pretty tight, and so you might want to have the knees bent. That can alleviate that discomfort. But you can also be seated. You can also choose to lie on your belly, lie on your side. If you're pregnant, you might want to lie on your side. So your choice, whatever way that you feel most restful and safe. And so finding that position, allowing the eyes to soften or close. And as you sit or lay here, you may just notice the breath settling, coming into a more natural, easy breath. Allowing the attention to be fully in this moment. And it's so interesting. Often the mind wants to jump ahead to the next thing before we're even there. And so for now, giving yourself permission to just be, just as you are, fully and completely. knowing that whatever your experience is absolutely perfect. Welcome it all in. The bored mind, the quiet mind, all of our strengths and weaknesses, all the pleasant sensations and the unpleasant. All a part of this moment, just as it is. And so the nice thing about practicing if you're at home is that you can stay here as long as you want to. And I invite you to stay here even longer if you choose. But if you're ready to kind of move on, you can bring yourself up slowly to a seated position if you're not there already, just resting the hands down in your lap. Taking a moment to notice how you feel. Maybe even taking one hand or both hands, placing them over the center of your chest. This is your kind of heart space. And giving yourself gratitude for taking the time to take care of you. This is so important. And it's often really challenging to do. So give yourself some thanks. And then if you'd like to, you can bring your palms together in front of the heart. We do this just in an act of gratitude for all of the teachers who came before us, right? These practices here have been passed on for thousands of years from Hindu traditions, from Buddhist traditions. And so we honor our teachers that came before us. And I thank you all so much for your practice. You can open your eyes and move on with the next part of your day. And so I wish you all a really lovely conference, and hopefully in 2 years I can see you there in person. Thank you.